Hi, I'm Jisoo from Blackpink.
When people talk about Blackpink, the conversation usually follows a familiar pattern. Jennie is often associated with headlines and controversy. Lisa is seen as the global superstar, the dancer whose stage presence seems to dominate every performance. Rose is known for her voice, the emotional tone that many listeners instantly recognize. And then there is Jisoo. For a long time, she was the member people did not always mention first. Not because she lacked talent, and not because she played a minor role in the group. Her presence was simply different. Jisoo rarely tries to command attention in obvious ways. While other idols build their image around strong personalities or dramatic moments, she tends to stand slightly outside that energy. In the early days of Blackpink, many casual viewers noticed one thing before anything else: her visuals. She quickly became known as the group's visual, and a lot of people assumed that was her main role. But once fans began spending more time watching interviews, variety shows, and behind-the-scenes content, their perceptions started to shift. Jisoo did not behave like the typical idol many expected. Her sense of humor felt unusual. In the middle of an interview, she might suddenly say something completely random. Sometimes she would start laughing at her own joke while the other members looked confused. And occasionally, she would make comments that quickly turned into inside jokes among fans. People eventually began calling it her four-dimensional personality. With Jisoo, conversations rarely follow the direction you expect. Yet beyond the humor, viewers began noticing another side of her presence within the group. As the oldest member, she often appeared to act as a quiet source of balance during intense schedules or stressful moments. She did not need to dominate conversations to influence the atmosphere around her. And over time, something interesting started happening among the audience. More and more fans began reaching the same conclusion: Jisoo might actually be my favorite. Not because she tries to stand out more than the others, but because the longer people watch her, the more genuine she seems. That gradual shift in perception is what makes her story so compelling. Jisoo did not become one of the most loved members of Blackpink overnight. It happened slowly, through personality, consistency, and small moments that fans began to notice over the years. So the real story is not simply about a K-pop idol becoming famous. It is about how someone who never relied on loud attention gradually became one of the most appreciated members of one of the biggest groups in the world. And to understand how that happened, we have to go back to the beginning, long before Blackpink, long before the global fame. Back to when Kim Jisoo was just a teenager in South Korea, trying to figure out what she wanted to do with her life. Before millions of people knew the name Jisoo, she was simply another teenager growing up in South Korea. She was born in Gunpo, a city located not far from Seoul. By most accounts, her childhood was fairly ordinary. She grew up in a busy household with her parents, an older brother, an older sister, and even her grandparents living close by. It was the kind of environment where the house was rarely quiet. People were always around, talking, sharing meals, and moving in and out of rooms. What surprises many fans today is that becoming a K-pop idol was not originally her dream. Like many teenagers, Jisoo imagined several possible futures for herself. At different moments, she talked about wanting to become a painter. At another time, she mentioned the idea of becoming a writer. Her interests changed often, which is not unusual at that age. She also enjoyed sports. She played basketball and practiced taekwondo. And like many young people in Korea during those years, she spent a lot of time listening to K-pop. One of the groups she admired the most was TVXQ. Things began to shift when she entered high school. Jisoo attended the School of Performing Arts Seoul, an institution known for producing many idols, actors, and performers. While studying there, she joined the drama club, an experience that introduced her to performing in front of an audience. Participating in small school productions gave her a new perspective. She discovered that she genuinely enjoyed being on stage. It was not necessarily the idea of fame that attracted her, but the process of performing and expressing different emotions in front of people. Around that time, she began attending auditions. In 2011, an important opportunity appeared. During one of those auditions, representatives from YG Entertainment noticed her. After evaluating her potential, the company offered her a trainee position. For people watching from the outside, becoming a trainee at a major K-pop company can sound like the first step towards success. In reality, it often marks the beginning of an extremely demanding period. Trainees spend years practicing and preparing without any guarantee of debut. The schedule is intense. Dance training, vocal lessons, language classes, rehearsals, evaluations. All of it happens under constant pressure. Many trainees eventually leave the system without ever debuting. Jisoo remained in that environment for 5 years. 5 years of practice, 5 years of waiting, 5 years without knowing whether all that effort would lead anywhere. During that period, she slowly began appearing in a few small projects connected to the company. She appeared in Epic High's music video, Spoiler Plus Happen Ending, playing a mysterious girl who quickly caught viewers' attention. Later, she also appeared in HI Soohyun's music video I'm Different, where she acted alongside Bobby from iKON. These appearances were brief, but they sparked curiosity. People started asking a simple question: who is that girl from YG? Behind the scenes, Jisoo continued preparing for a career that could potentially reach audiences beyond Korea. In addition to her music and performance training, she studied Chinese and Japanese. Still, even after several years inside the system, nothing was certain. For a long time, she had no way of knowing whether she would actually debut. Then, in 2016, everything finally changed. Because that was the moment Blackpink was introduced to the world. When Blackpink officially debuted in 2016, everything moved extremely quickly. The group entered the industry with 2 songs, Whistle and Boombaya. Within a short time, both tracks were climbing the charts. For a rookie group, that kind of impact was unusual. Almost overnight, 4 trainees who had spent years practicing behind closed doors were suddenly standing at the center of the K-pop industry. For Jisoo, this moment represented the result of 5 long years of preparation. But debuting was only the beginning. Once Blackpink began appearing in interviews, performances, and variety shows, audiences quickly started paying attention to the group's internal dynamic. Each member projected a very distinct energy. Jennie carried a natural charisma and confidence that translated strongly on stage. Lisa brought explosive dance ability and stage presence. Rosé's voice stood out immediately with its emotional tone. Jisoo, on the other hand, revealed a different kind of presence. As the oldest member of the group, she often appeared to take on a quiet, stabilizing role. Not through authority or leadership titles, but through small interactions that fans began noticing over time. During long schedules or stressful moments, she was frequently the one making jokes to lighten the mood. When interviews became tense or awkward, she sometimes helped guide the conversation back into a comfortable rhythm.
안녕 안녕 나는 지수야.
Over time, small stories from behind the scenes also began circulating among fans. Producers who worked with Blackpink often described her as remarkably calm. One detail that gained attention came from Teddy, one of the main producers behind the group's music. According to him, during all the years he worked with Jisoo, he had only seen her cry once. For many fans, that detail said a lot about her personality. It did not suggest that she never struggled. Instead, it reflected how rarely she allowed pressure or frustration to become visible. Her relationships with the other members also became something viewers enjoyed watching. With Lisa, she developed a playful dynamic that often looked like 2 sisters constantly teasing each other. With Rosé, the connection seemed quieter. The 2 frequently appeared comfortable sitting together and talking for long stretches without much noise. And with Jennie, something interesting sometimes appeared during group interactions. Even though Jennie often projected strong confidence during performances, there were moments when Jisoo seemed to provide a calm center whenever the atmosphere became chaotic. Despite this, some casual viewers still underestimated her role in the group. In the early years, she occasionally received fewer lines in certain songs. In some music videos, her screen time also appeared shorter than that of the other members. Because of that, some people continued to assume she existed mainly as the visual of the group. But for fans who followed Blackpink closely, the picture looked different. They began noticing the small moments that did not always appear in highlight clips: her humor, her loyalty to the members, her steady presence during stressful periods. Little by little, many viewers started appreciating what she contributed to the group. Jisoo was not trying to compete for attention inside Blackpink. She did not need to. Because the more audiences observed the group over time, the clearer it became that her presence added something important to the overall balance. Not noise, not drama, but stability. And in a group operating under constant global pressure, that kind of presence mattered more than most people realized. As Blackpink's popularity expanded around the world, the way people talked about Jisoo also began to evolve. At first, many casual viewers focused mostly on her appearance. She was frequently introduced as the visual of the group, and there was no denying that she fit that image perfectly. Her face quickly became one of the most recognizable in K-pop. But fans who followed the group more closely began noticing another side of her personality. Jisoo could be unexpectedly strange, not in a negative sense, but in a way that often caught people off guard. During interviews or variety shows, while the other members answered questions in a more conventional way, Jisoo sometimes responded with comments that seemed completely unpredictable. She would suddenly make a joke that nobody anticipated, or start laughing at something that left everyone else momentarily confused. Even the other members occasionally looked surprised by the direction of her humor. Those moments quickly became popular among fans. People began describing her personality as four-dimensional. In K-pop culture, that term is used for idols whose behavior can feel a little unusual, a little quirky, and sometimes completely unexpected. Jisoo fit that description perfectly. One moment she appeared calm and elegant. The next moment she would say something so random that it immediately turned into a meme among fans. Nicknames also began appearing around her. One of the most famous was Turtle Rabbit Kim. The name came from the idea that Jisoo seemed to carry two completely different energies at once, calm and relaxed like a turtle, but also playful and energetic like a rabbit. Even she laughed about it. Moments like that made her feel very approachable. Unlike some idols who appear extremely careful about every word they say, Jisoo often seemed comfortable being herself in front of cameras. In behind-the-scenes footage, she joked with staff members, teased the other members, and occasionally made silly expressions during otherwise serious moments. For many fans, that authenticity became one of her most appealing qualities. At the same time, another conversation started appearing inside the fandom. As Blackpink continued growing internationally, fans began paying closer attention to the details of performances and songs. Who sang which line? Who appeared the most in music videos? Who received the most time in the center of performances? In some cases, those discussions turned into debates. Some fans began pointing out that Jisoo occasionally seemed to receive less spotlight than the other members. In certain songs, she had fewer lines, and in some performances, her center moments were shorter. For casual viewers, this detail might not have seemed significant. Inside the fandom, however, people noticed. Hashtags like Jisoo deserves better began appearing online. Most of the fans using those phrases were not attacking the other members. They were simply expressing a desire to see Jisoo's contributions recognized more clearly. That moment quietly changed the way many people perceived her. As fans started looking more carefully at her performances, they began noticing something else. Jisoo had been improving steadily. Her vocals sounded stronger, her stage presence became more confident, and she developed the ability to command attention without forcing it. Throughout those discussions, Jisoo herself rarely addressed the debates publicly. She did not complain about line distribution. She did not criticize the company. Instead, she continued working. For many fans, that attitude only increased the respect they already felt for her. Over time, the narrative around Jisoo slowly shifted. She was no longer viewed simply as the visual member of the group. Instead, she became someone many fans felt protective of, a performer whose quiet persistence made people want to see her succeed. Eventually, she began stepping further into her own spotlight. One major turning point came through acting. In 2021, Jisoo took on her first leading role in the drama Snowdrop. The series immediately attracted attention across Asia, partly because audiences were curious to see whether a K-pop idol could carry a major dramatic role. The expectations were high. Many viewers felt that she handled the pressure well. The drama sparked debates, as many high-profile productions do, but it also demonstrated that Jisoo was willing to expand her career beyond music. Then came the moment many fans had been waiting for. In March 2023, Jisoo released her first solo single album, Main. The title track, Flower, quickly became a global moment. The choreography spread rapidly across social media, with fans around the world recreating the distinctive hand movement from the chorus. Commercially, the results were impressive. The album sold more than 1 million copies in its first week, making Jisoo the first female K-pop soloist to reach that milestone. After years of being described mainly as the quiet member of Blackpink, she had clearly proven that she could succeed on her own. Music was not the only area where her influence continued to grow. In the fashion world, Jisoo had already built a powerful reputation. Her partnership with Dior became one of the most visible collaborations between a luxury brand and a K-pop idol. Over time, she moved from being a local ambassador to a global ambassador, attending Paris Fashion Week and representing the brand internationally. She also partnered with Cartier, further strengthening her presence in the luxury fashion industry. At the same time, fans noticed another aspect of her personality. On her birthday in 2023, instead of focusing on gifts or celebrations, Jisoo launched a YouTube channel called Happy Jisoo 103%. She announced that all revenue from the channel would be donated to charity. Later, she revealed that the funds would support Save the Children, helping children in need around the world. For many fans, that decision reflected the same generosity they had always associated with her. Then, in 2024, another major step arrived. After years under YG Entertainment, Jisoo decided to take control of her own path. She launched her own company, Bliss Soo, opening a new chapter where she could manage her individual projects and creative direction. It was a bold decision, one that showed she was no longer defined only as a member of a successful group. She had become something more, an idol, an actress, a global ambassador, and now, a businesswoman. Looking back at her journey, it becomes easier to understand why so many fans feel connected to her. Jisoo did not build her reputation by trying to dominate the spotlight. Instead, people watched her over time. They noticed her humor. They noticed her patience. They noticed the quiet confidence she carried through years of intense pressure. And in an industry where many performers compete to stand out as loudly as possible, Jisoo proved that sometimes a different approach can leave the strongest impression.